Hi everybody, welcome to my 2024 Arma Reforger review for PC and console, with a little bit of a quick start guide at the end to get you into this game, and also with plenty of warnings is a bit of a strong word, but some caveats to consider when you're thinking about playing this game or when you're in the game, so that the frustrations that you will inevitably have, you'll be able to go, oh right, yeah, Rob warned me about this and I know to keep on pushing through. So Arma Reforger recently came out of beta. Now at the time of recording this video, it's not on PlayStation, but I understand it's coming to PlayStation soon, so it may well be out. And I'm coming from this review as someone who's played Reforger on Xbox and PC since its launch. Not thousands of hours, but I've made plenty of tutorials and I've been very interested, and I've dived in, regularly to see how it's going and to enjoy myself in community events, single player, multiplayer, that sort of thing. Now the first thing I've got to say though is if you're on PC and this would be your first Arma experience, I would definitely say if you're on PC, pick up Arma 3, if Arma 4 isn't out when you're watching this video. Pick up Arma 3 with all the DLC and start there, because Arma 3 has a single player campaign and lots of single player scenarios that you can work through, and as we'll talk about in a minute, Arma Reforger doesn't have that. Obviously if Arma 4 is out and it's got a single player campaign, then Arma 4 is the place to start off with. Obviously if you're on console and Arma 4 is out, then you'll be buying that, but you may want to consider Arma Reforger. So there we go. So what is Arma Reforger? Well, if you're on console and you've never played on PC before, this is unlike any game you'd have ever played. On its surface, it will kind of look a bit like Call of Duty or Battlefield, but this really is a tactical sim. I mean, it's still a video game, and it has things like these massive open world islands where you're going to spawn in playing these really big. Lots of players, or not many players, but still in a large environment, in a more tactical environment. So you don't get things like tagging where enemies are. You don't get things like a kill cam, but what you do get is you get more realistic physics and gunplay, and deaths as well, and injuries and all this sort of stuff. You also get the fact that you've got the base game, so you've got Arma Reforger, but it does have a workshop, which means that there's lots and lots of mods. And in fact, some of the most active and fun communities that you will get involved in, or have to get involved in, I would say, do use lots of mods where they kind of change the game. So Arma Reforger, it's set in like the mid-1980s in a kind of a mid-Atlantic island, and you've got the Russians and the Americans, and you've got civilian stuff. But people mod it to make it modern day, and they mod, 2020s, and they mod it to make it like World War II. It's really important to remember that Arma Reforger is a stepping stone that the developer and publisher, who are Bohemia Interactive, are using to get to Arma 4. It's quite an unusual thing in the fact that they've released this paid-for game, and I was very critical at first when Arma Reforger came out, and I still have the criticisms that being, as it was, a beta and a testbed for the new game engine that will become the Arma 4 game engine, that you had to pay. You had to pay to play it. So in effect, you're paying Bohemia Interactive to help them develop their next game, which is a bit unusual. Which would have been fine if Arma Reforger at launch had been where it is now, but it wasn't. We had to go on this very long journey and put up with lots of things that weren't very good. So Arma Reforger, because it is a stepping stone, because it is this testbed, it's also a work in progress. Now, by the time you watch this video, most of the main changes may well have already happened, but I suspect as we go towards Arma 4, if it's not out at the time of recording this video, there'll be lots of things that get added into Arma Reforger for us to play and for us to test before they go into Arma 4. It's important to know what it isn't as well. Arma Reforger is not a AAA title, because there isn't an official, or the time of recording this video, there is no single player campaign. So unlike Arma 2 or Arma 3 or hopefully Arma 4, you can't jump in as a single player and have a nice story or a campaign or scenarios to work through. So it's really multiplayer focused with some single player bits to it as well. It isn't as friendly as something like Battlefield or as something as a Call of Duty, in terms of telling you how to play. I mean, it's a lot better than Arma 3 for console. It does have a nice tutorial that you can work your way through. But this game is made by devs who very much come from the PC background and a long line of military sims, through the Arma series. And you will definitely get the feeling as you play, as a console player especially, that you'll think, oh gosh, this is really complicated. Why do we have to, if you get injured, sort of apply a bandage and some painkiller? Why do we have to worry about tyres going flat on vehicles? Why is there no sort of active reload? All these different things. You'll think, because it's a mil sim, so it's not that easy. But the trade-off for that is the fact that is immersion. So when you learn all these mechanics to actually play the game, even things like, why when I look at a map can't I see where I am? Things like that. When you learn to use the compass and you learn to read street signs and town signs to know where you are, it all becomes very immersive and really satisfying when you get it right as well. Now, you can enjoy some things in single player. There's plenty of scenarios in the workshop that you can download and play, where you can spawn in and people have made these little missions. Not as many as there used to be, because when Arma Reforger went to 1.0, a few of those old mods were lost, but there is a little bit of that. There is also something called the Game Master scenario, which again is something you've probably never seen on console, which is where you go in and imagine like a 3D view of a battlefield map, but you can place down soldiers, including yourself, and things like tanks and helicopters, armoured cars, and jeeps and helicopters. And you can spawn in friendlies and spawn in enemies, and then you can spawn in, and then you can play a quick scenario as well. And you can do this online as well, so you can have a server that you own or you rent, where you and your mates can go and play on it. And you, as the game master, you can say, okay guys, I'm going to put you guys are all going to be here, and then you put some AI NPCs on a hill somewhere, and then you can say, right, our objective is to go and capture that. And then you spawn in with them and you go off, and maybe if they're doing really well, you could go into game master mode and you could spawn in some more enemies, or if they're struggling, you could get rid of some, that sort of thing, which is really, really unique. There's going to be a lot of frustrations coming with Arma Reforger, and this isn't just Arma Reforger, it tends to be the Arma franchise and Bohemia Interactive games in general, but particularly with Arma Reforger as well. You'll have things like getting lost. Now, I keep giving them feedback, and I suggest you do the same on their official feedback tracker, about you should have a marker on a map when you look at it that tells you where you are. It just gives you a vague idea, and then you've got to work it out. So that can be very frustrating. So you'll tend to get lost a lot. People would often call it like a running simulator. If you spawn in at the wrong base on one of the bit on Conflict, for example, the big game mode, and there's no vehicles there, it can take you a long time to get to where the enemies are. And often you're not quite sure what to do or where to go. You won't see enemies. You won't see the enemies who shot you, so you won't know what happened. The gamepad interface can be a bit clunky. One of the classic frustrations you'll come across as well is because there is cross-play between PC and console. Not the fact that PC players are cheating or anything like that, but when you go to join like a PC server, it'll have lots and lots and lots of mods on that can be a struggle to get working on working on a console. And for me, the really odd thing about Arma Reforger is that I think Arma's strongest point, the bits I've played of it, are always PvE or co-op PvE. So it's you versus AI NPCs, or you and a load of real people against AI NPCs. That's where you have loads and loads of fun. And there isn't that much at the moment in Reforger as well. Now, if you want to enjoy the multiplayer, what you have to do is have a mic, and you have to talk to people. So when you jump into one of the game modes like Conflict, you have to talk to people. You have to join a squad that's got people in it. You have to get onto the mic and say, hi, I'm new, what are we doing? And so that, if people don't help you, leave that squad, join a different squad and say, hi, I'm new, what are we doing? And when you've got a question about how to do something, ask, right, oh God, how do I change my kit, or something like that. And once you do get involved in that, and you do talk to people, and you'll probably make some friends, some contacts who may well be playing on public servers, run by Bohemia Interactive, and they may well play on community server. That's when you'll have the most fun. You'll have these amazing times as well. So if you listen to this and you think, actually, I'm still interested, and maybe you've watched footage as well, and you're like, I'm still interested in this. So, is it good? Well, I think the most amazing thing about Arma Reforger is the new Enfusion Engine that runs this. It is absolutely fantastic. Now, when you're playing during the day and it's overcast, it doesn't look that pretty. In fact, it can look quite crap. But in the night, when you've got the dynamic lighting, or in like the early hours of the morning, or in the afternoon when the sun's setting and it's raining and you get the glistening on the rocks, it is one of the most beautiful games you will ever come across. Very, very excited for this engine, and it's getting better and better and better. And sure, you could say that things like the is it the Frostbite engine for Battlefield looks nicer, but you've got to remember that the maps that the Enfusion engine is supporting are way, way bigger, and what's going on in the maps is way more complicated. And the fact that they're putting this together is really exciting and makes it very, very immersive. The gunplay is, I guess, more realistic. You've got great driving around vehicles. We've got helicopters, and you'll have, when you have the combat, you'll have some of the most immersive combat you'll ever have. You'll say jump in a jeep, you'll go to a point that needs to be captured, maybe it'll be nighttime, somebody will fire up a flare, it'll light up the area, you'll see the tracers coming in, a helicopter will be going over the top, and it is so much fun. But that's when you're on the mic and you're talking to other players and you're working together as a team. If you jump into some of these games as a solo, you'll have a really frustrating, horrible experience where you'll be like, well, I don't know where the enemies are. You'll get yourself to maybe where some action is, and you'll see some bullets flying around, some explosions going off, and then you'll just get shot by a sniper from somewhere, and you go, well, that was a bit crap. I don't really know what I'm doing. So I guess what I'm saying is that if you see gameplay footage, and seek it out, watch gameplay footage of people playing Arma Reforger on console or on PC, and if what you see appeals to you and you think, oh, this looks exciting, remember often that this footage will have been edited to look exciting. So for 5 minutes of combat, there could well have been half an hour of no combat and getting sorted and getting the equipment together and then travelling to where they want to be. But if you like that, then it's worth investing your time and, of course, your money in Arma Reforger and giving it a go. And then you will be part of this development process towards Arma 4, which I think is really interesting as well. Because when we get Arma 4, if it isn't out already, and it comes out on console, that could be very, very special. And I think, especially as console players, it's very important, I think, for us to make sure we give our feedback as well. In the description below this video, I'll put a link to the Arma Reforger feedback tracker, which is the official way to feedback bugs, errors, and your ideas. Because, as I said earlier, I think most of the devs, well, I think probably all of the devs who work on Arma Reforger are really keyboard and mouse based PC players, and they played on PC, all the time. And what this means is that although, yeah, they do have gamepads, and they obviously do test on gamepad, because they haven't been playing things like Call of Duty or Battlefield, all of their gaming lives, and they're coming from it. Well, the keyboard and mouse, is the best way to play. Sometimes the decisions they make aren't the right ones for console players, and that's where the feedback tracking comes in, where you can go in and you say, actually, I think you should do this. Can we have an option to do this? And then you can really help mould the game towards being very console friendly indeed. So there we go. So yeah, so I think if you like, for example, Battlefield, and you like PUBG, and you like more tactical Call of Duty, then it's worth looking at Reforger. But you must get on that mic, talk to your teammates, ask for help, get involved, and work as a team. Okay, so there's that bit. So let's just do a quick start guide. Now, I'm using the experimental version of Reforger on Xbox here, so the menu might have changed by the time you get to it. So we're in the main menu. So where do you start? So where you really want to start is you go to the play option, and you want to do the training and work your way through all of the training, because this will get you used to the gun mechanics and the controls, how to aim, how to reload, how to lean, how to use the radios, how to drive, all this sort of stuff. It'll take you quite a while to work your way through it, but that means that when you jump into a game, you won't be completely lost about how to use the inventory, because again, it's not the best in the world. Then what you'll probably want to do is have a look through the field manuals, do a bit of reading. Don't get too involved, because obviously we play video games to have fun and not read, but there's lots of great information in there as well. And then you have scenarios. So scenarios specifically on console, if you jump into any of these and just play, you're going to be in a single play scenario, which isn't good on them. But the one you're looking for is Game Master near the bottom. Game Master on Ireland and Everon. They're the two islands. Ireland is the smaller island, Everon is the bigger one. And this is the mode where you basically got admin powers. So you spawn it, you don't even spawn in, the map will be below you, and you can drop in soldiers, and you can spawn in yourself, and you can run around and get to know like flying helicopters, firing guns, shooting enemies, all that sort of stuff in a nice, simple environment. Now, if you're on PC, you can actually host games as well from this screen, but I'll probably say, don't do that at the moment. What I would say is if you go to multiplayer here, and then start off in the official tab at the top. Now, this is the experimental version, so there's not many servers playing. And then just pick something like a conflict server that's almost full, that has a low ping, and just jump in, join one side or the other, spawn in at probably the main base, and then and join a squad, and just start talking to people and say, hi, I'm new, what do we do? And as I say, if they don't help or they don't talk to you, or it's in the wrong language, leave that squad, join another squad and say, hi, I'm new, how can I help, what do you want me to do? And then you'll start to learn the game, and you'll have a really, really good time. Now, once you've got sucked into that bit, you'll then go to the community tab. So this is where you have the servers run by the community that will often have lots and lots of mods on. And so what you do is you'll download these mods, and by all means have a look in the workshop, and you'll see all these fantastic things that people can put on their servers to change the game. M1 Abrams, different helicopters, different weapons, different uniforms, different kit, night vision goggles, boats, all this sort of stuff. This is the beauty of the Arma series and DayZ as a whole, is the fact that modding is the thing that often drives the game forward. So Bohemia Interactive, the publisher and developer, create this sandbox that we can play in, but then we can also change the sandbox by adding our own toys to it to make it more interesting to how we want to play. So there we go, Arma Reforger. You can probably tell as I've been going through this video the fact that I do have mixed feelings about Arma Reforger. I think a lot of that was put in really because of the way it launched on console and PC, where it wasn't really ready, and we had problems with not being able to join servers. It was all very clunky, and the control scheme, especially the gamepad control scheme for console, was really rough to start off with. Now, by the time you watch this video, it should be more of an industry standard. You'll notice that when you do the training, there's some things that still are a little bit odd. But it's come a long way. It's come a long way, and now it's kind of, I think it's where it should have been, probably at launch, where you'd have paid your money and you would have understood that this is a stepping stone, but it's a very playable game and an enjoyable game, and takes us into Arma 4. I guess if Arma 4 is out now, and you're asking the question, do you buy Arma Reforger? I can't really answer that because I don't know what's going to be in Arma 4. I kind of feel that when we get Arma 4, we'll have Ireland, and we'll have those Everon maps, but we'll have like single player, and we'll have campaigns and multiplayers, and maybe Arma Reforger will be a small part of that, but we'll have to see how it goes. But hopefully this video has been useful, hopefully it's inspired you, and hopefully these warnings I've given you about how frustrating the game can be will mean that when you're in the game and you come across these frustrations, you won't go, oh god, and just install it straight away. You'll push through, and you'll really enjoy it. And I'll end with what I've been saying all the way through, is that get on that mic, talk to your squad mates, ask how you can help, ask them for help, and enjoy the game that way. So that's enough from me. If you found this video useful, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe, and of course I'll see you again soon.